You've probably heard this advice a million times. Think like a Fortune 500 CEO. I mean, it sounds great, right? Aim for the absolute top. But what if I told you that's actually the wrong goal for most of us? What if there's a much more powerful and, frankly, achievable way to think about wealth? Let's dive in.
So let's get right to it. Is climbing that corporate ladder all the way to the top, is that really the path to freedom and the life you want? The answer you might find is a resounding no.
You know, the reality of that high-powered CEO job often comes with a massive hidden cost. Instead of getting more freedom, you're buried under the stress of managing hundreds or even thousands of people. Your entire life can become a nonstop grind of chasing capital and just clinging to the money you have. It's not freedom. It's a different kind of trap. And this right here, this really lays it all out. On one side, you've got the CEO reality, managing labor, endless work, constant stress. But on the other side, that's the millionaire mindset. It's a total shift. It's not about managing people. It's about building assets that work for you. It's the difference between being a manager of stress and an owner of freedom. So here's the key takeaway. The real prize isn't a fancy title on a business card. It's financial freedom. It's about owning your time, your choices, your life. And you know what? There is a much smarter, more direct way to get there. So let's break down that playbook. Here it is, the three-part framework for building real, sustainable wealth. It's actually pretty simple. First, you have to create value. Then, you learn how to multiply that value using leverage. And finally, you master how to protect and grow that wealth by investing with discipline. Let's tackle each one. Okay, let's start with pillar number 1, because it's the foundation for everything. This is a huge mindset shift. Most people are out there chasing a bigger paycheck, but the wealthy, they're chasing problems they can solve. They get that money isn't the goal. It's just the natural result of creating value. So what even is value? It's not some complicated business school concept. It's incredibly simple. You find a problem someone has, and you build a solution so good, so effective, that they are genuinely happy to pay you for it. That's it. At its core, every dollar earned is just part of an exchange of value. Now, how do you increase your income? You scale the value you provide. And that doesn't mean working more hours. It means solving bigger problems. Or maybe it means solving problems faster, or making the whole experience completely effortless for your customers. And of course, it really helps to focus on customers who can actually afford your brilliant solution. Let's move on to our second pillar, which builds right on top of the first. Once you're creating value, the next step is to amplify it. This is where leverage comes in. It's the arts of getting way more out of what you put in. I mean, it's the difference between trying to push a giant boulder with your bare hands and using a simple lever to move it almost effortlessly. Okay, this slide is a true game changer. It shows the massive difference between old leverage, which was all about managing people and raising capital, and the new leverage of today, code and media. And what's the difference? Well, the new kinds have a near zero cost to replicate, and they can scale almost infinitely. This is the secret to building wealth in our modern world. I mean, just think about it. A piece of software, an algorithm, a YouTube video, a podcast, these are assets that are working for you around the clock. They don't need a day off. They don't ask for a salary. They can be reaching a global audience while you are literally asleep. This is probably the most powerful form of leverage in all of human history. And guess what? It's available to pretty much anyone. So, you've created value. You've used leverage to build some wealth. Now what? How do you keep it and make it grow? Well, that's where our final pillar, investing, comes in. And the number one rule here is to take your emotions completely out of the picture. This quote just nails the biggest trap out there. So many bad investors treat the market like it's a casino. They're playing the Dogecoin lottery, just blindly gambling on super volatile things, hoping for that one big score that'll make them rich overnight. It's a strategy driven by greed and fear, and it almost always ends in disaster. And hey, the data speaks for itself. Look at this. Emotional gambling is just a recipe for losing money. Meanwhile, a disciplined, boring strategy leads to steady, predictable growth over time. The difference is just staggering, and it's everything when it comes to long-term success. So, what is this smart, disciplined strategy? It's almost laughably simple. You don't try to outsmart the market. You just buy the whole market through something like a low-cost index fund. And then you do the hardest part of all, nothing. You just let the magic of compounding do its work for you over the years. All right, let's wrap this all up with the key things to remember. The goal is the freedom of a millionaire, not the soul-crushing stress of a CEO. You get there by focusing on creating real value, which means solving problems. Then you amplify your efforts with the new, powerful leverage of code and media. And finally, you protect and grow your wealth with a systematic, emotion-free investment strategy. And that leaves us with one final powerful question. Because remember, it all starts with pillar one. It all starts with value. So take a look around you, at your job, in your community, online. What valuable problem will you solve today?